Hey everyone, I'm back, and today we're going to be talking about Mr. and Mrs. Smith. And this movie came out in 2005, and it's directed by Doug Liman, the same director as Edge of Tomorrow and The Bourne Identity, which is his best movie, if you ask me. And this movie stars Brad Pitt and Angelina Jolie, and also Vince Vaughn is in it. Brad Pitt and Angelina Jolie I liked in the movie. I thought that they were good. I wasn't upset with them in the movie. And I kind of liked the tone of this movie. And there were moments where it was fun for me to watch. More on that in just a minute. And there was a dinner scene in this movie that I quite enjoyed. I found it to be kind of fun. But overall, I found this movie to be very disappointing because it was just a bland action movie that didn't really engage me. The comedy in this movie didn't really work for me all that much. Vince Vaughn, he was fine in it. Not terrible, but nothing amazing. The pacing for this movie is really slow. Barely anything happens throughout the entire film. And the only things that happen in the movie are when we get to action scenes, and that happens only a few times in the movie. The first half is basically almost no action, and the second half is when the action scenes start to become a bit more frequent. When that's the case, the movie becomes a bit more entertaining for me. But unfortunately, it just doesn't save it. The characters are not interesting for me. I was never attached to any one of them. The action scenes in this movie were kind of dull for me. I didn't care about the action scenes. They existed, but it wasn't like impressively done. And while I was watching this movie, I just kept thinking to myself, I kind of wish that this movie wasn't given to Doug Liman. Even though I don't think he's a terrible director, for the tone that this movie was kind of going for at parts, I just thought, man, this movie would have worked a lot better if it was given to someone like Guy Ritchie. Like, just give him this project and it would fix a lot of the issues, I feel. And going into this movie, I could have sworn that I've never seen this movie before. I remember the trailer as I was watching the movie, and as the movie progressed, I just realized I've seen all of this. Like, I knew exactly where it was going, and I could tell you every beat of the movie once we got halfway through the movie. And I couldn't even tell you how that happened or when I last saw this movie. It must have been like, I don't know, 15 to 20 years ago, because that's probably around the time when I would have seen it. And here we are. I don't know if I would say it's any better or worse from the first time I've seen it, because I don't even remember my reaction to it. All I can tell you is that I've definitely watched the movie. And with this movie being on Netflix, and also with it being as dull and hollow as it was for a good chunk of it, I couldn't help but to watch it at 1.5 times speed. I was just that bored while watching it. And didn't make the movie more entertaining. Yes, things felt like they were moving at a more acceptable pace, but this movie never once justified its 2-hour runtime. If it was an hour and a half, it would fix a decent amount of the issues that I have. I just have a huge problem with the pacing of it, because the first half is basically just nothing happening, and the second half is where we get the action. And I'll say this much about the action: it wasn't the worst part of the movie. It wasn't like a whole bunch of shaky cam nonsense where you couldn't see what was going on. Like, just judging the action on its own, not terrible. And that's about all I have to say about Mr. and Mrs. Smith. It's kind of forgettable, nothing special. I can say that I watched the movie, but overall it's just very hollow, and I'll never watch this movie again. And I would recommend that you skip this movie because there's really no reason to watch it. And that's about all I have to say about it. So with all that being said, I'm going to give Mr. and Mrs. Smith a 4 out of 10. Thank you for watching my videos as always. If you enjoyed this review, be sure to leave a like and comment down below what you thought of Mr. and Mrs. Smith, and my social media links. They will all be in the description, so follow me there. And last but not least, subscribe to be a part of Foley Nation, and I'll see you when I get my next review up, and that is going to be for Blackmail from 1929, directed by Alfred Hitchcock, so look forward to that. But until I get that up, thank you for watching and have a great day.